All right, so a little bit about LearnUp for parents and how we can all work together to support students. So LearnUp is a nonprofit that has been around for 10 years now, and we are on a mission to teach all kids how to read. So LearnUp is founded as what we call a one-for-one model. We work with students whose families have the capacity to pay tuition, and we use that to give back in the form of financial aid to families. If you are a family looking for financial aid, please reach out and we can share that information with you. And at LearnUp, in our 10 years, we have worked with students of all ages, all grades. We work with adults as well. And we work with students who may have learning differences or students who just weren't taught to read the right way. So we know that reading doesn't come naturally to everyone, and that as students are growing, they're going to pick up on how to speak, but not how to read. And that's why students need to be taught to read the right way in an explicit, structured format. So what we do at LearnUp is a little bit different than some other programs. Our program is based on about 5 different Orton-Gillingham approaches, which is a very foundational phonics approach where you are learning to decode or break down words by looking at the letter, connecting it with the sound. And what we do that differs from some other programs out there is that we use entry levels to have students start in at their challenge level in our program. And we use our proprietary book series as well. And we spend about half of each session reading books that reinforce the phonics concepts students are learning. So I'm going to walk you through our entry levels a little bit. As a parent, if you come to us for this free intake assessment, we will be able to tell you what entry level we've determined your student will be after about 15 to 20 minutes of working with your student and looking into this. We find that students tend to bucket into about 5 different entry levels. We have students who we call non-readers. They may only know a few of their consonant or vowel sounds. Then we have early readers. This is a student who knows some one-syllable words, but they can't consistently read one-syllable words, and they have a lot of gaps in their phonics that need to be filled in order to move forward into more challenging material. Then we have students who come to us with more knowledge already in place. And for those students, we want to meet them where they are and not reteach them anything that they already know. So we will start them in at the intermediate or advanced area of our scope and sequence, and we will work with them for emerging readers on 2-syllable words, for developing readers on multi-syllable words, and we'll go back and fill in the gaps in their phonics as needed. We also work with students on comprehension and writing, especially for our students who we call a Start 5 entry level. These are students who sound like they're reading, but when you ask them what they read, they can't tell you. And frequently that's because they do have gaps in their phonics and they're so focused on decoding, they're not able to pay attention to the book or the story around them. We also find that these students need explicit strategies for comprehension and writing, which we will work on with them. We are an evidence-aligned and data-driven program, and so we continue to monitor students' progress throughout their time with us. We determine their entry level, which will also help determine what goals we would set for the student in our program and how many sessions we anticipate it would take to meet those goals. That can all come from our first initial free intake assessment. Then, as students continue on with us, we do a weekly 1-minute reading, we call it. This looks at the student's oral reading fluency. Each phonics concept that they learn is a new skill that they can apply in their books. And so you get to see how they grow in the grade level of text that they are able to approach and in their words correct per minute or how fast they're able to read. We also compare students for national norms. So we look at the Scholastic for how fast the student is reading at grade level, and we look at their ability to decode nonsense words and recognize sight words as well. In addition, we monitor students' movement through our spectrums on comprehension, fluency, writing, and spelling, because we know that reading is not just about decoding, it is about understanding what you're reading and comprehension, and that the other aspects, such as writing and responding to text, are very important in the world of literacy. All right, now we also have some pre and post-student videos available on our website that we will email out to everyone who is interested in this initially. Here we have how students move through our scope and sequence. So our average independent student attends for about 80 sessions, and that is about 4 to 5 months in our program because we are a high intensity tutoring program, and we recommend that students attend 4 to 5 days a week for 50 minutes a day. What we find as we look at how students are gaining skills on this chart is that you see by the time they're at advanced phonics, they are able to reach what we call an independent reading level. And this is a reading level where they're able to pick up a book, decode it, and understand what they just read and be able to tell you about it. Now, this may differ a little bit from grade level and standardized tests because sometimes there are other skills such as vocabulary and background knowledge and oral language that students need to build. All right, here is a sample of some of the data that I discussed, and you can see that based on our oral reading fluency, in 4 to 5 months, students are growing 2 to 3 grade levels and sometimes over 3 grade levels for students who come to us with more knowledge already in place. And so this means that in about 5 months, we can get a student almost 3 grade levels above where they're at. And if you think about a fifth grader who is reading at second grade level, that means give them 5 months of high intensity reading tutoring, and they're able to start to read at their grade level to understand what's going on in their classrooms and keep up with their peers. All right, so now I'm going to walk you through a lesson here. And in every lesson, we use our interactive multisensory phonics board. And this is something we know is really important when teaching reading to students. We want to make sure that they are staying engaged and using all of their senses in order to learn best. So in every session, we spend about the first half of the time on our phonics board, which I'll show you, and the second half actually reading in a book. So on here, you can see what our magnetic phonics board looks like. We have an online version and we have a physical version as well. And on here, you can look at the sounds that are up top. So for example, your consonant sounds up here and your vowel sounds here. And if you were working with a student, you would move these around, you would practice reviewing the sounds. So for example, if you were learning your vowels, you would point here and say eh, ah, ah. After reviewing sounds, then a new concept will be taught on the phonics board. And during that time, the tutor will be moving around the tiles on the board for the student to see, and the student will be interacting with questions. Then we will practice that skill that the student just learned. For example, they learn about these greens here. We call these green walkers. We say 2 vowels go walking and the first does the talking. And so this one here would say E. All right, now with me, Jamie, can you say these? E,
E,
A,
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 O,
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 O.
U, U. And we would then use these to create nonsense words, pulling out letters and practicing the sounds that we had just read. We would then switch and have the student read the words, and after that, we would practice using real words for spelling. Now, as I mentioned, the second half of our lesson is spent reading in decodable chapter books. And we have a variety of chapter books available for students of all ages and grades. So both these books, while they look rather different, are technically at the same decodable level. This one over here on the left is called Ocean Fun, and this is for our elementary school age students. Then over here, we have an excerpt from our book, The Fog, which is set up for our middle and high school students. And so this is going to look more like the type of book that you would get in middle and high school so that students do not feel that they're being given something babyish. And these books will also have more engaging themes, more interesting characters and plot and higher level vocabulary as students are approaching that so that they can really feel like they're reading something that engages with them. All right, so a bit about working together at LearnUp. Our sessions are 50 minutes and we are a high intensity program, so we recommend that students attend 4 to 5 days a week. We also start our sessions generally on the same time on the hour to book our tutors together. We offer sessions both in person in San Francisco. We have a clinic at Fillmore and Geary, and we work virtually with students all over the nation. Our typical cost is $115 per session. We offer sliding scale financial aid tuition to any students who are in need of that. And our session amount is determined by the intake assessment. So we have some tutors on here available to go into breakout rooms and conduct intakes. These same tutors will also be available for scheduling over email if you are unable to attend this event. The first step in our enrollment process is filling in our LearnUp enrollment form. Next up, there is a free intake assessment, which takes about 20 minutes. And based on that, we will provide you with an assessment report, which anticipates how many sessions we believe the student will need and goals that we believe the student can meet. We work with families who come to us independently. We provide financial aid for families in need, and we work with students through compensatory education with the school district. So feel free to reach out to us if you believe that your child may be eligible for compensatory education.